when we were going through the adoption process. One of my little girls was in a little cart. We were at Kmart, and we were picking up some stuff. She reached out and grabbed my sweatshirt. She looked up at me with these incredible steel blue eyes. Little 3.5-year-old. And she looked at me, and she goes, "Mine." My heart went. And I said, "I will go to hell and back to ensure that this adoption goes through." It was a contested adoption. I went to war. I fell in love. I said, this relationship is worth fighting for. You've got to have that attitude, but you've got to have the conversations. Now, some of you have dabbled in this, some of you have practiced this, but I want to challenge you to go further. So find a time, find a day. I don't care what the day of the week it is. Just shut it down and use that time to write a letter by hand. You know, a thank you note by hand. Go pick up the phone and have a conversation with somebody. Go see them and go to lunch. Take your girlfriend or your spouse to lunch or dinner and look over the table. Here's a cool one. Your family. Okay, so times are tough. Shut the TV off during dinner. Put all the books away that you tend to read, and ignore everybody, and have a real spiritual conversation during a meal. Why am I saying all this? Because you see, it's about, we have to be all there. That's the first art. There are 4 arts that we're going to look at in this series. The first art is, how do I be all there for my relationships? We have to be all there. Now there's a verse. We're going to be spending some time in Luke 10. If you want to put your finger there and read. In Luke 10, verses 38 to 42, I'm going to start there. It says this: As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where there was a woman named Martha, and she opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. And she came to him and said, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her to help me." "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered, "you are worried and upset about many things, but only one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." You see, we have to choose to be all there. Now, my life is a work in progress, as I've shared. I am fractured. I remember back in the days of Rocky and Bullwinkle, there was a thing called the fractured fairy tales, where these fairy tales never came out exactly as you expected. And, you know, I'm there. I want to encourage you. This month is about grace space. Some of you, I need to say this from the get-go, some of you are like me, that the people that are hardest on yourself is you. This month, shut it down, put the flog away, put away the cat nine tails. This month is about celebration of having the grace space to be able to implement some change in your life. How do I get here? You see, we need to be able to embrace every opportunity to its last. There are going to be times where it's going to feel counterproductive. Now, I got to say this. If you are one of those weird people that I have to check off everything on my list, I have to completely empty my box, I have to get all these 5 tasks done before I will be happy, you are going to be totally ticked off at me at this series. Because I'm going to tell you to purposely not do stuff. This is the thing that we're going to look at about this whole relationship with Mary and Martha. One of them was like this intense, there are people in my house that need to be fed, and I'm going to do it. The other sister's sitting there chilling with Jesus. Now, I don't know about you. I would have that temptation to, well, the Son of God is in my house. I've seen him perform miracles. Bugger on the house, I'm ordering pizza. You know, I want to hang with the man. You know, this one sister, she is out there going off the chart to make everything cool, a deal. The other one's sitting there saying, I just want to bathe in his presence, man. I'm just sit here and soak it in. So here's the thing. You're going to have to make some decisions to choose to be all there. Which means there are going to be some things left undone on your list. And it's okay. This is a cool story. I'm going to read it again. As Jesus and his disciples were on their way. Now listen to this. He came to a village where there was a woman, and she was named Martha. And Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he had to say. But Martha was completely distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and said, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to myself? Tell her to help me. Ah, Martha. He had that sarcastic stuff in his voice, like he said, you know, I could just hear it in his voice, where when the disciples were wearing him out, and he said, oh, suffer, Father, how long do I have to put up with this? You know, I mean, oh, Martha, you're worried and upset about many things, but only one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen what is better. Many of us feel like Martha. Now, I am a 24/7 guy. I find myself sometimes being so busy for God that I miss the blessing of just being with God. And there's a huge difference. It may not sound that significant, but the difference is a focus. When I'm working for God, I'm easily distracted by many things that are in front of me. All the tasks to do on my to-do list have to be done that day. Then there are all the interruptions that I must look around, and I can't find anyone who understands or will help me. There's a word for this, multitasking. There's a better word for it, burnout. Martha was finding herself at her wit's end, trying her best to prepare a meal for Jesus, while Mary, her sister, is spending all the time with Jesus. So what's up with that? And what makes matter worse, Martha just totally freaks out on Jesus and just drops her sister into the grease fire. And I love how Jesus handled it. And here's this beautiful picture about relationships and what really matters most. It's about being all there for those who we love. Jesus lovingly rebukes the sister. I don't think he scolded her or he was condescending, but he had this compassionate tone of understanding, saying, Martha, Martha. Sometimes you have to say a person's name twice to get their full attention. Actually, in my household, there's the 3 times, and the 4th time is you add the middle name. You know? But Martha, look at me and listen. You're worried and upset about many things, but only one thing really is needed. And Mary's chosen the better.